Your mic's not plugged in.
Are you fucking with me right now?
No, it's a
that's
computer
yours.
mic, yeah.
I don't know. It signed me out and fucking updated everything. And now my fucking mic's not working.
It's plugged in though, right?
Yeah, it's plugged in. What do I look like?
You just gotta go through your audio settings.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Boner!
All right, guys, I gotta go. Good show. Thanks. I think we're good.
Fuck you all. You know what? I hate all of you.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
All right. Welcome to another wrestling podcast. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2018. I'm Credo.
I'm Minority Mike.
And I'm the social assassin, Angry Cooter, and I'm having a very bad fucking day.
Hey, it's a new year. Anything can happen, and everything will happen. Cooter, hang in there. It's just the beginning of the show. We have a lot more to go. We got a lot to talk about, right?
Yes, let's get this fucking shit over with, because right now I'm gonna put a bullet in my fucking head.
Well, we don't want to do that on a live podcast. We saw what happened with that one guy, Logan Paul.
Oh,
we don't want that reputation.
No dead bodies tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, you know, I'm looking at your shirts, and we got some Bullet Club shirts going on. Funny thing, Cooter, I was working on an Angry Cooter t-shirt for our Pro Wrestling Tees store. Yes, we have one. Check it out, prowrestlingtees.com/another wrestling podcast. I wanted to make an Angry Cooter shirt, and I made it. I made the Angry Club shirt. Cooter, you know what? I got a cease and desist letter from Pro Wrestling Tees. We couldn't put it up there anymore. I
can't be the only one who's been shitted on by New Japan, right? Come on now.
Well, it says here, this is what I got. It says, we received the submission form for your Angry Club design. Unfortunately, we can no longer put Bullet Club, New Japan, or WWE parody shirts up on our website. You're welcome to change the design around and resubmit a form. And I'm like, all right, let me just check out what everybody else has got on their page. Every fucking page has a WWE parody shirt or a Bullet Club shirt, and I'm like, fuck. Just take them all down. Anyway, we're trying, Cooter. I'm trying to get you a shirt. Trying to get some
Kenny
shirts
Omega
for the show.
fears the angry one. He's a bitch. Fuck him.
Well, guys, we got some new shirts going on there. I got an all right shirt. I kind of made that really quick. I don't know what else to do though, Mike. Do you have any ideas for new shirts? I mean, we're wrestling fans. We should have some wrestling ideas, right?
Well, I know a lot of wrestling fans on Twitter have been blocked by Vince Russo, so how about we just make a Vince Russo blocked me t-shirt. I think a lot of people will relate to that one. I sure as hell can.
Wow.
Hey, Mike, how many people have you been blocked by on Twitter?
Well, let's see.
This is a gimmick.
Vince Russo, Josh Matthews, Kalisto.
whole plethora.
Yeah, Kalisto, ladies and gentlemen. Impact Wrestling blocked me. Yes, the promotion itself blocked me.
By promotion, dude.
Yeah. I know the list goes on and on. I don't know off the top of my head, but the ones that stand out to me the most is Impact Wrestling and Kalisto.
I love it. We all have gimmicks on the
People
show.
wondering why Kalisto blocked me. That's a long story for another day. But yes, I was blocked by a Lucha thing.
Wow. Well, everybody, welcome. You know, I just want to let everybody know a look ahead on today's show. We have former WWE superstar, the Genius Lanny Poffo, and joining him is going to be John Crowther. He's a writer for a new comic coming out with Lanny Poffo for Inverse Comics, Squared Circle Comics. They'll be joining us in a little bit. We're also we're going to be talking about what we think will happen in 2018. Minority Mike's got a little list for us. We don't know what's on it yet, so we're going to find out what happens later on. So stay tuned for that. But I just mentioned it, guys. Breaking news, if all you guys out there on social media, we got another guest coming to the area very soon. I want to throw out some plugs for this. So March 2nd, Waterbury, Connecticut, for Northeast Wrestling Wrestlefest. We have Lanny Poffo. He's on the show today, but he's also going to be in Waterbury, Connecticut on Friday, March 2nd for Northeast Wrestling's biggest show of the year. It's pretty much the WrestleMania. So he's going to be doing that. But guys, the very next night, Lanny Poffo is coming to Poughkeepsie, our hometown. He's going to be signing autographs, taking pictures. We're also going to have a special Q&A session with him, all happening at Darkside Records over in Poughkeepsie, guys. So come on over for that. A special Q&A. Ask Lanny anything you want, whether it be about the Macho Man himself, anything. I think he'll answer it all.
I'm telling you right now, if you get the opportunity to have a conversation with this guy, he really is brutally honest. He will tell you anything. He really is an open book. This is a great opportunity to hear some really funny shit. And he really is, Credo. I mean, we've had dinner with him before. He's a funny dude.
I remember that night you guys invited me out to that dinner, and he was there. And the stories he was telling us was just so awesome. I mean, the story between when Macho Man had the idea of trying to put over Shawn Michaels, that story is great. The one thing that stood out to me the most was I wasn't even there for 5 minutes. I went over there, I shook his hand. I didn't even ask him. He handed me Macho Man's Hall of Fame ring and just turned around casually and went back to conversation. He just left the Hall of Fame ring in my hand. Dude. He had no idea who I was. I could have easily ran off with this ring. I would never have done that. But he was just, hey, here you go. Here's the ring. And I'm like holding it like I have the glow.
Yes.
And I'm just like, oh my God. Like I took a picture with it. I gave it back. I mean, he's such an awesome dude, man.
Yeah, man.
It really is. If you guys get a chance, go out there and check him out. Have a conversation with him. He is such a good dude.
Definitely, guys. So once again, March 2nd, March 3rd, he'll be out here. Maybe we'll do other stuff with him. I don't know. There's going to be a lot going on that weekend, but only another wrestling podcast is going to bring you Lanny Poffo back here in the tri-state area. So come on over for that one, guys. But let's get right into the week that was, shall we? We were off last week trying to collect ourselves, trying to figure out what we're doing on the show this year. But Mike, I'm going to give you this one for a little bit. You're the big New Japan mark in this triple threat we got going here. But New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom happened. What were your thoughts on it? Because I know me personally, I was watching it for Jericho and Omega. I don't know too much New Japan stuff, but it was good, Mike. Tell us your thoughts about this briefly if you can.
I thought every match on the card was great. I mean, with the exception of the New Japan Battle Royal, which they have a pre-show and they have a Battle Royal. It was okay. Other than that, every match pretty much delivered. The three main events, I call it the three main events, which was the Intercontinental title match, Jericho versus Omega, and Naito versus Okada. All those matches are great, but honestly, in my opinion, Omega versus Jericho was the best match on that card. I mean, you had the super junior heavyweights. That fatal four-way match was great, but for some reason it was just Jericho and Omega. They told a great story. Jericho is the ultimate heel, and when people call him the GOAT, he truly is a GOAT because he knows how to put the crowd in the palm of his hand and be that guy that nobody likes. Well, everybody likes him, but he plays that villain so well. I mean, the story they told outside the ring when he stole the camera from the cameraman and started taking pictures of Kenny and then took a picture of him flipping off the crowd. This was classic Jericho. This was a savage. This was the character that, I would be okay with as WWE champion if they let him be this guy. But the card itself was just a great card. It's Wrestle Kingdom is a great way to start off your new year. I was up early for this. I actually got up early because I wanted to watch it live. I did not want any spoilers. And like I said, it was just a great card. It really was. I loved it from top to bottom.
I'm going to throw something out there. I couldn't agree with you more in terms of Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. And I was pissed off because I found a stream and I'm literally watching as I'm going to work. And as I'm pulling into the parking lot, Jericho and Omega are on, and I'm just like, I do not want to go to work right now. I was so fucking mad. And like you said, Mike, I didn't want spoilers. This is probably the first and only time I've literally left my phone in my car for the entire day of work. Yeah, literally. And then when I got out, I found a link and I watched it. And let me tell you something, Jericho and Omega tore the fucking house down. And for all those fuckboys out there who were saying, oh, Chris Jericho's too old, he's not going to be able to work, that pace with Omega. Okay, you obviously don't know who the fuck you're talking about because like Mike said, greatest of all time, Jericho can work with anybody and fucking look great doing it. That's just a fact.
Yeah, man. He's 47 years old, too. I just looked that up. 47 years old, man. I wish I could be half the man he is at 47 years old. I had almost similar story like you, Cooter. I wasn't up early for it, so I actually had to wake up early because I think I called out of work because we had that snowstorm, and I woke up as the match was happening, so I was watching it in bed with my phone. I'm like, I'm like, and it was funny. Our friend of the show, Felicia Rose, she tweeted out something funny. She was like, Raw can't, capture anybody's attention for 3 hours, but New Japan has the half of America up at 2 or 3 a.m. watching the show.
Not wrong.
Just a little.
That is so true.
It was such a funny joke, but it was so true. Everybody was up. I couldn't do it, but man, that Jericho Omega match definitely worth it. I think even actually breaking news that Omega signed another contract, extending his contract to 2019 January. So he's going to be over there for a little bit. Don't expect him. Well, I know some marks want to see him in the WWE, but he's still with New Japan for the foreseeable future. A lot of things happen with that, but all in all, New Japan was awesome. Maybe a competition for WWE if they change it up a little bit. I saw some people eyeballing it, like Mark Cuban, trying to see what he could do with New Japan if he buys it, puts it on his networks. I don't know. It's definitely different, and especially with that English commentary, man, it makes it even better because I need to understand something when I'm watching. It's just the Japanese. It's too much.
Mark Cuban already has it on his network, actually, the Access.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what I was thinking. I was reading something to where he has it, and I think he maybe could invest or wants to invest more money into it.
Either way, I'll tell you something right now. If they can expand to the U.S. market and take over in the U.S. territories, WWE has some competition on their hands.
That's right. Guys, moving right along. Possible, or this is one of those things you read online, but Goldberg could be headlining the Hall of Fame, and I hear that the Dudleys are possibly on their way into it too. Guys, Goldberg, are we at Goldberg? Does Goldberg really need to go in right now just because of what he did last year, or could it have gone to somebody else? I mean, as the headliner, I don't know.
Ugh.
Granted, they haven't made an official announcement, but I mean, this is hearsay, whatever. So we're kind of leaning towards it. I think Dave Metzler said it. So
I really wish the WWE would take a page out of MLB, and they won't put anybody in Hall of Fame after a 5-year period. You have to be retired for 5 years in order to be included into a ballot of the Hall of Fame. For me, it's like I don't want to see a guy who just had a match last year all of a sudden next, is in the Hall of Fame. It kind of takes away that anticipation for me. Like I like when they bring back old timers that you haven't seen in a very long time are finally up there getting their Hall of Fame speech in. To me, Goldberg, I think it's just too soon. I wish they could just wait a little while. If they do it, they do it. I mean, all we're going to do is bitch and complain about it. There's nothing that we could do about it, but I just hope that they don't. I hope they give it some time.
That shit drives me nuts, man. I couldn't agree with that statement anymore. Because when you put a guy in the fucking Hall of Fame a year after he's retired, like Shawn Michaels or Eddie Guerrero, just because he passed away, like I get it. Eddie would have been a fucking, a first name ballot Hall of Famer regardless. Do we need to put him in so fast? Like, but then again, this is pro wrestling. I mean, a lot of lifespans are kind of cut short, and maybe they want to get them on television giving a speech before, a drug overdose or something. I don't know. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole, but let's be honest. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows when Bill Goldberg might go on a cocaine binge and fucking overdose. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, like I said, they haven't made an official announcement yet, but that's what people are saying. I guess we'll have to just wait on that before we get too much into it. But guys, maybe I should have kind of led with this after the New Japan talk. But All In, Cody Rhodes, the Bucks, Omega, happening September, their own pay-per-view. They haven't announced a location just yet, but this is building up because this is like their own pay-per-view on their own dime kind of a thing, and I don't know. This could be a big deal, right? What do you guys think about this? Or do you even want to go? Or are you going to try to go?
I don't even think it's a pay-per-view. I think
it's like a live show.
what the origins of this was, Dave Meltzer said that Ring of Honor could never fill a 10,000 seat or a 10,000 seat arena. Cody Rhodes pretty much said that I will prove you wrong. And so this is what led to this. Dave Meltzer was the reason why this is happening. So they're trying to do their best to fill 10,000 seats. I really hope that they do succeed that goal. If they don't succeed the goal, I really think it's the fans' fault, because the fans need to put some support behind this, because I know they're going to deliver with a great card. I know there's going to be some huge names. They haven't announced anything yet. There's two places where they're going to be, and it's either going to be in Chicago or it's going to be in Los Angeles. And those are the two markets that they're targeting. They haven't announced what arena they're going to be in yet. All they announced is the date, which is September 1st, 2018. I'm all in for this. I mean, I like to make these little wrestling trips. I mean, I went to Full Sail last year. I think I'm going to make the trip to this regardless where it is, either Chicago or Los Angeles. It should be an interesting show, especially if Daniel Bryan's contract expires. I believe his contract expires at the end of August, which leads right into all in. So that would be interesting if that does happen. If they do bring in a CM Punk, if it's in Chicago, that would be huge. They'll definitely fill a 10,000 plus arena.
It could lead to a lot of things, man. It could lead to another promotion. I don't know. I'm just so used to saying pay-per-view. So, hey, even with like companies like Flow Slam or something, if they sell out those tickets, I wonder if they'll be like, hey, let's just try to get it filmed too, So either way, I'm all in. I would love to see it, but I don't know. I'm not going to be able to go there. But it is what it is. Definitely exciting. They definitely got their fans ready for it. And, hey, it's going to deliver. It's some of the best in the world right there. Guys, I want to bring this up, though, too. Not too much happening, what happened on Raw and all that stuff. But I want to kind of bring this up because I don't think we got to talk about it. The Balor Club. We finally get to see Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows joining Finn Balor. Something almost I feel like they could have did a year ago when they had that momentum coming from New Japan. Or was it a year ago? I don't even know what it was, But now they're finally doing it. Is it too little too late, or is it just about what they need? Because I'm honestly enjoying this kind of heelish Finn Balor now and, with the club. So I'm hoping this gets going, something big, something great. I'm not a fan of just calling it the Balor Club, though. But, guys, the Balor Club.
If any of you fucking guys thought that this should not have happened, you are so dead wrong, because Anderson and Gallows are such a great fucking team. They deserve a higher spot on that card. I think personally they're probably the best team on the Raw roster. They have the best credentials out of anybody. That's just my opinion. And the fact that when people have been saying, oh, Finn Balor isn't over. Yeah, he's over, but what I've seen from him being a little bit heelish, I think I'm enjoying more than him as that face that I saw on NXT. Yep. I mean, it's fresher. I don't expect it. It's kind of different, because when we see guys from NXT come up as either a heel or a face, they tend to come up on the main roster the exact opposite. Like a Bobby Roode was such a great heel on NXT, and now they brought him up as a face on SmackDown Live, and I can't stand it. I love Finn Balor as a face on NXT, and right now I'm really starting to enjoy him as the fucking heel on Raw, and I hope it goes even farther, and I hope they stick with this shit.
They haven't clarified yet, though, if they are heels. They were kind of tweeners on Raw. This is only week one with them together, so we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's too late. I mean, it should have been done a while ago, but Vince had no faith in it. Them just throwing it together now, it feels like Vince just really has no plans for these guys whatsoever. I really hope that they take this and just go with it and just make the best out of it, to a point where Vince has no choice, but he has to put the tag titles on these two, Gallows and Anderson, and he has to take Finn and put him in that main event picture, because he is so over, that Daniel Bryan effect, where the fans are just so into him that they don't care what the booking is. They're going to hijack it and cheer for this guy. We'll see how it goes. I mean, right now it's only week one. I'm enjoying it. If I enjoy it 2 months, Vince might take it away from us. So who knows?
Definitely, guys. I'm loving it. I love it. I'm happy that it's finally happening. It's great. But, we are getting into that WrestleMania season, guys. It's we're waiting for the Rumble. It's happening, right? We're there almost, but, some people, I love to know, Dave Meltzer, other people on the internet just know what's going to happen for WrestleMania. It's already in the books. This is what's happening. So, according to them and these marks online, they have the 2 top matches for WrestleMania 34 are being scheduled as Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, and John Cena.
Oh, again?
And John Cena versus Undertaker in a single match. That's what's being said. These are supposedly in stone. Who knows if it is or if it isn't? But we're going to talk about it anyway, guys. We just talked about Balor. I honestly would love to see Balor face Brock for that Universal Championship just because he never lost it to anybody. He should get that kind of a rematch, and I hope they don't waste that kind of a rematch. But I don't know. Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, why do I feel like we're stuck in repeat city, man? Come on. There's got to be. I don't want to see that as the main event again. He already had his main event WrestleMania. He won it in the main event and nobody gave a shit. And now we're back to this. Please no.
I can't deal with Roman Reigns at the top of the card, especially against somebody who's already faced in the main event already. I mean, really, how many main events have we seen as a repeat to close out the fucking show? I mean, has that ever happened before? I mean, yes.
Crazy.
Have we had Kane versus Undertaker 3 times? It didn't close the fucking show 3 times. Have we had Undertaker and Shawn Michaels twice? Yes. And the list goes on. There's been a few repeat matches, but we haven't had repeat main events, at least to my recollection. And if we have, it's not as if it's something that's happened, 2-3 years apart. It's just fucking ridiculous. You have an abundance of talent on the roster, and this is what the fuck you want to give us? A repeat. If I wanted repeats, I'd watch fucking Golden Girls at 2:30 in the fucking morning.
The only time the WWE had a repeat Mania main event was Rock versus Austin.
Yes, and I don't count that. That's a great rivalry.
But let me get this. WrestleMania 15 and then to WrestleMania 17. And the reason why it was so successful was because people were invested in it and people loved. I mean, Rock versus Austin, WrestleMania 17 was by far my most favorite build-up that there ever was. I mean, they had the Limp Bizkit My Way. Rock versus Austin WrestleMania 17 was the only time that people were actually invested into a repeat main event. Like this match, Roman versus Brock. Why are they putting this on WrestleMania when is Vince retarded? Mm-hmm. Is he stupid? Does he not understand that people don't want to see this? He's doing stuff for his own amusement. I don't want to see Brock versus Roman. I don't want to see Roman kicking out of the F5, which I've seen before already. Now, granted, their match at WrestleMania 31, I thought was good. It was hard hitting. It was great. Seth Rollins came out at the end. We're not going to get that here, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to get Seth Rollins saving the day. We're not going to get, this authentic Suplex City bitch yelling in the camera that's just going to take the world by storm. And we're not going to get that. We're just going to get a match that people are going to cry, bitch, and moan about. And they have every right to cry, bitch, and moan about. They have every right to fucking complain about it. It's a fucking match. It's the worst.
Hopefully the fans take it over again like they did with Daniel Bryan's a few years ago. Maybe the fans will change the main event if this even happens. But I'm not too sure about this one. John Cena versus The Undertaker. Guys, after that shit show last year, that Roman fed to The Undertaker, man, he hung that shit up. I do not see him coming back. I felt like that was it, man. Like, you can't walk out of there like that, say goodbye, leave your gear in the ring, and then come back, I'm going to wrestle again. I don't see why, unless he officially says this is a loser leave town or, retirement match or, unless he officially says that, then I'm like, oh, whatever. But after last year, man, that match sucked so bad, and I feel so bad for some of those spots that Roman did with him. They just fucked it up. They just didn't have chemistry, and it was a bad match. Let's face it, it sucked. So you have that. Do you go out on your back like that? Do you end your career like that? Okay, that's fine. I mean, he lost. Whatever. We moved on. But now to come back and fight John Cena, it's got to be like a loser leave town, I don't know, kind of a match. And Undertaker's done, man. Stick a fork. There's no streak. There's no like, ooh, I need to see this match anymore. Like, he should have did this fucking 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it would have been fine. Now it's like, I don't know, guys. Are we gonna even get this, or is this just the marks online having fun?
I think it's possible, and you know what? I really wouldn't have a problem with it because there's a big difference between a limited Undertaker working with somebody like fucking Roman Reigns and working with a ring general like John Cena. I mean, is it going to be a fucking, 4 3/4 star classic, Mr. Meltzer? Probably not, but I think these two can tell a pretty compelling story in the ring, on ring psychology alone, as opposed to let's just have Roman go out there and look strong and fucking show how limited the Undertaker really is these days. I mean, come on now. I mean, is that really how you want to end your career with Roman Reigns? One of two things are going to happen. You're either going to redeem yourselves with a really great match against John Cena, or it's going to be even worse. And you know what? With the match that I had against Roman Reigns, I'll roll those fucking dice. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I really think he shouldn't even be having a match. I think that last year should have been it because they had the perfect send-off. Granted, it was against a guy like Roman Reigns and nobody cares for, but the send-off at the end of the match was just perfect. It was the perfect way to ride off in the sunset. Now, fast forward to this year, I'm going to disagree. John Cena is not a ring general. He really isn't. He's good when he's in there with guys that can control the pace, and that he has great matches with guys that are great wrestlers. But you put him in there with a broomstick, he's not going to have a good match.
You're bugging.
That's my opinion. He's not a ring general. He really isn't. And that he's good when he's going against guys like AJ, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, guys that are good. But when you put him in there with a guy who can't wrestle as good, the match isn't as good. And so when you got a guy who just had hip surgery, I don't think this match is going to be good. I think it's going to tarnish Taker's legacy. And it's just going to be bad. I mean, Monday they were teasing Samoa Joe versus John Cena, and Samoa Joe hurts his foot and he can't make it to the Rumble. So now they're scrambling around just in case Samoa Joe isn't ready to go, throwing the Undertaker idea out there. I mean, it's two legends. Yes, as much as John Cena isn't a ring general, he still is a big name in the sport of professional wrestling. Taker is another big name. This was a match that really should have happened 2 years ago, but didn't. For star quality, it's going to be probably closing out the show, but it's just a match that I don't want to see.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a serious question here. All right.
Yeah.
When you talk about John Cena's U.S. title run with his open challenge and all that, are you telling me the only reason that run was as good as it was because of all the people he was facing?
Yes, and we've talked about this, and you've agreed with me on this.
Listen, nobody has been more critical of him than me. I did not say that those matches were fucking good because of who he was facing. I was always saying I was upset because I thought certain guys should have gotten the rub off of him that they didn't get, and that he was burying them. It had nothing to do with what I thought the quality of the match was.
I thought every match complimentary. I thought every match that he had in the U.S. title match were guys that got John Cena over at the end of the day. John Cena did not get them over.
Cesaro is a better ring general than John.
Well, okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, guys, let's take it back because this might not even happen. I don't want to get too heated yet. Maybe when it officially happens, we'll definitely have a face-off of this because I can see who's going for who. This is going to be great. But these are just internet rumors maybe, but they're telling us they're set in stone. Dave Meltzer, I don't know. You know everything, so that's what he's saying, but we'll see. As you can see, it's getting as heated as it is. The only other piece of news I want to really say is that, hey, Austin Aries is back at TNA.
Whoopity-doo.
What a horrible man. He could have had so much more potential, and they just didn't use him. What a shame.
You know what's terrible is that I just bought his book, and the fact that he's in TNA now makes me want to throw it in the trash. I really like, how do you go at working pre-show, working class athlete like Neville to going to a promotion that nobody gives a fuck about, winning their belt against somebody. Well, I don't even know who he beat for it. The news was Austin Aries wins the Impact Wrestling title. Who the fuck did he beat for it?
I read it was a gentleman named Eli Drake.
Who the fuck is Eli Drake?
Well,
that's why. There you go.
This is why we don't do too much TNA news, guys. But maybe 2018 will turn that around if something really happens down there. But hey, maybe he's just happy to be there and it's close enough to his home that he could do it on the weekends, kind of a thing. I don't know.
Real quick though, Don Callis, everybody knew as Cyrus the Virus, who was amazing on commentary at Wrestle Kingdom 12, by the way. He's a part of Impact now. He's a part of the creative team. He's a part of pretty much management. So hoping for the best with Cyrus the Virus running things there.
Well, there you go. Maybe more stories on TNA in 2018. But guys, that was the week that was. All right. Once again, joining us, we're gonna have Lanny Poffo coming on and John Crowther, the writer for the new comic that they're going to be debuting this weekend on Kickstarter. Here they are. Joining us is a family member of the show. He's been on the show about 3 times now. Lanny Poffo is here, the genius Lanny Poffo. Lanny, how's it been, man? Thank you for joining us once again.
I am the genius full of glory and renown, still living in the past.
Well, Lanny, I have a little bit of a breaking news alert for all of our fans out there. Lanny, you're going to be joining us on March 2nd in Waterbury, Connecticut for Northeast Wrestling's Wrestlefest. You're going to be, meeting and greeting everybody out there. That's a Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. More information on northeastwrestling.com. And then also the following night in Poughkeepsie, you will be at Darkside Records doing a meet and greet on a Saturday, March 3rd from 12 to 2. And then also a little Q&A with the fans right after that from 2 to 3. For more information, guys, everybody listening, go to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. We have all the information up there on how you can meet Lanny in Waterbury and Poughkeepsie. But Lanny, are you excited to come back up to the Northeast where it's been freezing for a few weeks now?
I am very excited, Credo, but then again, the genius is easily excited.
The first time we talked to you a few years ago, the Macho Man was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. You've been on the road, though. You've been at the shows since then. You've been talking to fans. What have the fans maybe been telling you on the road since he's been inducted? Are they happy with your decision? Are they happy that the Macho Man's finally in the Hall of Fame?
Credo, I didn't do it for the Macho Man. I did it for Macho fan. And that's the reason I proudly wear my brother's WWE Hall of Fame ring. And when you take a picture with me, you don't just take a picture with me. Oh, no. I take off the ring, I put it on the fan's finger, and we take a picture together with the fan holding out his or her fist at the camera. And I'm telling you, Credo, now you've got a keepsake. Now you've got something worth saving.
Well, hey, that's a lot of fans probably haven't seen it in the Northeast in a little bit. So coming out to Waterbury and Poughkeepsie, what an experience. You'll be able to wear the Macho Man's Hall of Fame ring. Do you have any fond memories of this area, Poughkeepsie, or this area of, they used to film tons of shows up here back in the 80s and stuff for WWE. Do you have any fond memories of the area?
I made my debut on the same night that the Macho Man did. And he was on Piper's Pit. And, he had a win on TV. And myself, I wrestled a tag team match. My partner was the great Pedro Morales. And we wrestled 2 jabronis. And Pedro didn't know that he was tagging with one. And that was me. And so what I'm trying to tell you, Credo, is, yes, I've got some very fond memories of the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie. And also, I'm kind of a strange history buff. So I visited the Roosevelt Mansion at Hyde Park.
It's a lovely place to visit. I've been there many times. Your gimmick was poems, but you actually love writing poems. This just wasn't just something that WWE created, right? This has been a passion for a while.
That's right. I got my poetry start in the men's room of the Howard Johnson in Newark, New Jersey. And since then, it's been totally off the wall. And Frito, I even wrote one for your show. Can
You
I
have
can
a
I
poem
deliver
for
this
us.
now?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Another wrestling podcast, the greatest show on earth, and I am still the genius, full of merriment and mirth. I'm feeling good at 63. I'm looking in my prime, and I am still enamored by the rhythm, words, and rhyme. Minority Mike and Frito, an angry cooter too. I'll abuse my First Amendment until I bid adieu. Ooh, yeah.
Wow, I love it. Another wrestling poem. It's that was great, Lanny. Wow. This is what we love about you. You know, come on and give us some poems. We love it, Lanny. You're always welcome on our show. But I don't mean to take a sad turn. But sadly, you did lose your mom last year. But can you tell us maybe what her thoughts were? Because I'm just thinking about this. You know, your dad was a wrestler, your brother was a wrestler, you're a wrestler. Did she love the business too? That all the men in her life were wrestlers?
Well, she was Jewish, okay? So she was naturally very, very worried about, our physical health. I worry. But, you're going to drive me to an early grave. But she lived to be 90, not such an early grave. I did everything I could to help her along. In 2010, my father died, and they were married 61 years. And in 2011, my brother died, and she collapsed. Finally, 3 months later, I said, Mom, do you want to live or do you want to die? She says, I want to live. I said, then notify your face. She says, I can't. I said, fake it till you make it. Smile until you convince yourself that you're happy. Because you can get over it sooner or later. I choose sooner. So that's what I told her, and I helped her out for the final 6 years of her life. Finally, she just gave out at the age of 90. But she was a Jew till the end. She was a Jew. Yeah. I worry. That's the things I guess. You can choose your friends, but not your relatives.
Well, I remember talking to you before the show about your mom, and then the Macho Man DVD came out and how she loved talking about it, and being able to see you induct your brother into the Hall of Fame. What was her thoughts about that too? About Macho Man finally getting in?
Well, she didn't want me to do it, but when I turned 59, I became the older brother, and I caught up with Randy, who died at 58 and a half, and I finally said, I thought about Star Trek. No, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Mm-hmm. You remember that? Mm-hmm. Leonard Nimoy, Spock. And so I came home, told my mom that I said, I'm going to induct Randy into the Hall of Fame. She says, you can't do that. That was against his wishes. And I said, I am now the older brother. It is now my wishes that count, and I get to make all the unpopular decisions. So Randy enjoyed not being in the Hall of Fame. He liked to be, the overqualified guy that wasn't in. That was what he enjoyed. Mm-hmm. So then they asked me if I would do the DVD with the Macho Man, and I convinced my mom to be in it. But I thought she did a good job. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys did great. I mean, that's what all the fans out there have been asking for years, and, it finally came to fruition. And I think you did. I think you made the right decision at the end of that. At the end of the day, Lanny, I want to also bring up too. You have a comic book in the works right now. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Because I believe it's starting this weekend, a little Kickstarter campaign. What can you tell us it's coming from Inverse Press, the Squared Circle Comics. It's going to be called the Genius Lanny Poffo. What's happening with this? You're in comic book form now.
Well, I'm very excited about it. I don't have any superpowers. I can bend paper in my bare hands. Origami. So, anyway, it's very classy. I hope the fans invest in it. If not, I'll just send them a bundle of money myself. But I'm really excited about it. It's very well done. I'm proud to be a part of it. And this is my third book, by the way. Wrestling with Rhyme, Limericks from the Heart and Lungs, and finally, the Genius comic book. So, yes, it is exciting. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan has one also, and Nikolai Volkov, and the Killer Bees. So there's going to be a lot of wrestlers with comic books, and I'm glad to be among them.
That's awesome. Yeah, for everybody listening again, once on Sunday, January 14th, it's going to be Kickstarter launches for that. So make sure you check it out. We'll put the link up on our site. Make sure all the fans know about it. But one last thing, Lanny. Once again, to let all the fans know, we're bringing you in. You're going to be at Wrestlefest for Northeast Wrestling on March 2nd in Waterbury, Connecticut, and then the following day in Poughkeepsie, New York, at Darkside Records, where we're going to have a little bit of a meet and greet and a Q&A with the fans afterwards. But that's not it, Lanny. I also know you're going to be appearing on April 6th down at WrestleCon from our friends at Mania Marketing. So a few chances for everybody to meet you up here in the Northeast and then down in New Orleans. Any last words, Lanny, for all the fans coming out to meet you this year?
Yes, don't be shy. Just come on up and say, hey, give me the Macho Man's belt so I can take a picture. And, it makes me happy. Because, I went against the family to make this decision. Mm-hmm. And, it's a double-edged sword. I know why I did it. I'm glad I did it. But I also know that if I meet my brother in the great by and by, he might just beat my ecclesiastical butt, But if it wasn't for the fans, this sport would not exist. And it's not fair. It punishes the wrong people. Mm-hmm. They waited too long for Bruno Sammartino, and they waited too long for the Macho Man. So, I just felt it was enough. It hurt too many people. The Macho Man's not in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. And I had to do what I had to do. My mother never forgave me. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. You're going to have to love me anyway, because when I was the youngest in the family, I didn't always get my way, and I mentioned a few times. Mm-hmm. And, now that I'm the oldest, now that I'm the alpha male, because there's no competition, I'm going to make all the unpopular decisions. And if I can err on the side of the wrestling fan, that's what I'm going to do, because I wouldn't have anything or be anything without the wrestling fans.
Well, Lanny, we thank you so much. We can't wait to see you up here in the Northeast. I know the fans are really looking forward to seeing you, and maybe not just the Macho Man's Hall of Fame ring, but I know they still want to meet the Genius and hear all the stories you have to tell us. Thank you so much once again, and we'll see you in a few months up here, Lanny.
Okay, Credo, always a pleasure to be in your company, and of all the podcasts that I've ever done, yours is by far the most recent.
All right, well, we spoke to Lanny about the comic coming out, but now we're going to talk to the writer of the comic. John Crowther is joining us right now. John, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're a writer. You're writing for the comics right now. A lot of wrestling comics out there. Maybe for all the people listening right now, we know Lanny Poffo's the Kickstarter for the comic is coming out. But can you give us a little bit more information about this comic book and Lanny, this whole Kickstarter campaign starting this weekend?
Yeah, actually, Lanny's is the fourth series that we're releasing, and actually the fifth book. From Squared Circle Comics, and it's a biographical comic. That's all the comics we write are biographical, and it's going to tell his life story from his childhood through his time in the ICW on into the WWF, with also touching on like his father, Angelo, a little bit on Randy, and one shot. It's about 36 pages. And, I think it's something that's really interesting for not only wrestling fans, specifically, fans of Lanny and the Poffo family, but, really for wrestlers, for wrestling fans in general who kind of like to get a little history, a little background stuff they might not have known about these guys.
Okay, we have Lanny's out, but there's also a few other wrestlers' comic books that you guys have worked on. Can you let the fans out there know some of the legends they might not know that you guys wrote about?
Yeah, some of the ones that are currently available, and again, you can get these you can go to squaredcirclecomics.com actually online and find them. But the books that we've got out currently for Nikolai Volkov, for the fans who probably remember him from the I guess all the way back into the 60s, if you really look back when the manga, but from the 60s, the 70s, in the 80s, and I think he even touched base in the 90s a little bit. But Nikolai Volkov, he was the first one we did. We've got the first 2 issues of his series out. We followed that up with the first of 3 for the Killer Bees, and issue 1 focuses primarily on Brian Blair. A lot of people probably remember Brian initially from Championship Wrestling from Florida, but then eventually into the WWF and the UWF. And we followed Brian's up with the first of, and I believe this is going to be a 3-issue series for Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which is a really interesting story. I mean, his life all through professional wrestling and actually a very, very good collegiate football career, and then into professional football, into the Mid-South. He wrestled out in Hawaii, all of this before he ever got into the WWF. Following Lanny's book. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Following Lanny's book, we've got a few lined up. Actually, tonight before you called, I've been working on a script for, and I know anybody who's a fan of wrestling has heard of this guy, probably a four book series I'm working on for Bruno Sammartino, which we've actually gotten the blessing of WWE on that one.
Oh, wow. And
we've got books in the works for Rocky Johnson, Rock and Roll Express, Jack Swagger. Let me see here. It goes on. If anybody who was a fan of Glow Wrestling back in the 80s, writing a short series for Sunny, the California girl from Glow. So yeah, we've got some really interesting and a good range. Gangrel is a good range of books and characters that we're putting everything together for.
Nice. And for all the fans listening out there too, this is with Inverse Press, right? They also do a section called Squared Circle Comics. Can you tell us a little bit about that if the fans are trying to look this up?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably easier if you Googled Inverse Press would probably pop up. Inverse has been around for several years. They're a publisher based out of Alabama. And what happened is I actually got into comics, started writing a few years back, wanted to do it for my daughter. And I did a series that got some national attention. It got picked up by, called Rochelle, got picked up by a pretty large publisher, Antarctic Press. And now we got the books all over the world. And that kind of led me to do this series for Nikolai. So I approached these guys at Inverse Press trying to find a home for the books, and they created the imprint for Inverse Press, which is called Squared Circle Comics. That's where we get Squared Circle Comics. So they created Squared Circle Comics as an avenue for all of the wrestling books that I write. And so you can find them. You can find us on Facebook, or just, you can go to the regular website. And that's really the best avenue to get the books that are out there. But the neat thing about, and we can talk about this more if you like, the neat thing about Kickstarter, which we do for all the books and we're doing for Lanny's, is it allows fans to pre-order copies of the books, but you can get special incentives as well, such as limited edition autographed copies. We're going to have some of Lanny's figurines available that are autographed trading cards, photographs, magazines, some original artwork, opportunities for fans to be drawn into the Rock and Roll Express series. So there's some really neat stuff that's out there.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And I'm looking at some of this artwork, too, as you're talking. Can you tell us anything about the artists out there? Because, I mean, some of these pictures are incredible. I was looking at the Hacksaw photo that you got, even Lanny's photo. Some of the artists are really amazing on this.
Yeah, some of the artists. The artist on Hacksaw's book is a gentleman named Rich Parada. Rich has done a lot of work for Marvel and DC Comics. I don't know if you've got any of the art there for Nikolai.
Yeah, I was looking at it.
Killer Bees. Yeah, but that artwork is done by a gentleman named Del Barris, who's actually the artist I also use on my Rochelle series. And Del's been in the industry since the 70s. He actually broke into the industry with DC Comics doing Conan the Barbarian. And then he got into animation. He was the lead animator for Stan Lee's Spider-Man series, television series that was on Fox, for Transformers, for the Shark Tales, the movie. On Lanny's book, we've got some very talented artists, Rando Dixon, Alan McMillian. So we're using some very respected and talented artists on all these series, which makes the books, we try and make them as physically realistic as possible. They're not, yes, they're comic books, but you can tell by looking, I don't know what all you've got in front of you, but you can tell it by looking at them that we make them as realistic and accurate physically as possible.
Oh, yeah. And, but your area expertise on this, too, is writing. When you're writing these books about the wrestlers, first and foremost, you're a fan of pro wrestling, I would have to say, right? I mean,
absolutely.
You have
Since
to
I was
be,
a kid.
So you have to be a fan of pro wrestling.
I mean, this is a dream. This was a dream come true. When we were talking earlier, like I told you, it was kind of funny how I fell into it, because I've got a friend. I was mutual friends with him and Nikolai Volkov. I didn't know that at the time. And he contacted me after he saw my Rochelle series, and he said, John, I really like what you're doing, and I've got a friend who was in wrestling, and he's always wanted his life story told. And but nobody ever comes through for him. So I said, let me know who the guy is and tell him I'll give him a call. And because when I tell somebody I'm going to get something done, I get it done. So he says, okay. He goes, it's Nikolai Volkov. And my jaw hit the floor, because I remember him as a kid. I mean, I grew up, I was a big fan of wrestling in the 70s, mainly championship wrestling from Florida. But, I don't know how old you are, but as a kid, everything was territorial back in those days. So, I'd see what was here in Florida, but anything else I got, I'd have to go out to, you go grab the wrestling magazines. Everything else, you just kind of read about people. So he was a guy I read about. Of course, when he came with the Russians, we did get to see him wrestle in Florida too. But so I got his phone number, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to call Nikolai. And as you probably know, and anybody who's listening to the show tonight, when you hear Lanny Poffo talk, Lanny's got a voice that only Lanny has. I mean, when you hear Lanny Poffo, it's Lanny Poffo. Well, Nikolai is another guy who's got that voice. So when I call Nikolai, the first thing I hear is, Nikolai Volkov. I'm like, holy crap, I'm actually talking to Nikolai Volkov. So it took me a while to get past that before I could really settle in. But it's become, so neat. I probably talk to Nikolai 2 or 3 times a week. Now we've become really good friends. So to be able to talk to these guys and pick their minds, and it's one thing to see wrestling, on television, or to read about it, or to, even go to live events, but to actually be able to sit and pick these guys' brains. It's really amazing, some of the things they've seen and some of the things they've done. And by talking to them, I'm trying to now get these things out to other people through the comics, which to me is I prefer it over some of these books you're seeing that are out there that are novels that are being written by some of the wrestlers. But with the pictures, we try and bring it in a little bit more. I think that just adds something special.
No, definitely. And I want to ask you too, because your area expertise is writing. When you're writing a story for the Genius Lanny Poffo, I mean, where does that process begin? Where do you start? Can you let us a little bit inside your world of like how you get these stories for these guys? I don't know what comes to mind, or.
I'll give an example. Yesterday, I had a telephone conversation for about an hour and a half with Bruno Sammartino.
Wow.
And what it comes down to is it's me just sitting there, and I'll get on the phone with Bruno, and I'll say, okay, Bruno, you're 5 years old. Start telling me your story. And these guys will just tell me everything. I can ask them questions, and they're like open books. They're walking history. They're walking legends, literally. He's called the living legend, and he really is. And all of these guys are. So that's really how my process starts, is I get them on the phone and I just start talking, and just like we are now, and just regular conversations. And I tell you, I've learned how to write with my hands really fast. I was never a good typer, so I don't bother that way, but I just write and abbreviate and make notations. And it's kind of neat because like when I got off the phone with Bruno, he goes, John, if you have any questions, just call me back and I'll clarify anything. So it's just, that's really where it starts. It's I have some knowledge, but I don't have the knowledge that they do. And I get to hear a lot of things I hear you don't even get to see in the comic, which, I feel a little guilty to know about. I hear some of the, the locker room humor and behind the scenes stuff that it's not all translatable into a comic. That's really where it starts. Just a lot of conversations, a lot of writing. And when a script is done, if I'm happy with it, where I'm at with it, I'll send a copy over to the wrestlers. Once they've added or made some changes or anything like that, they ship it back. We send it to the artist, and we just go from there.
Nice. Now, once again, with Lanny Poffo, you guys are having an event this Sunday for the Kickstarter that's going to be going live, I guess. Can you tell us a little bit about that for anybody that's going to be down in Florida, I believe you said?
Yeah, if you're in the Central Florida area, If you know DeLand, it's in Volusia County. It's about 20 miles west of Daytona Beach and about 35, 40 miles east of Orlando. We're going to be at the Volusia County Fairgrounds. I'll be there with Lanny Poffo this is Sunday. This Sunday, it's 9 o'clock until 4 in the afternoon. So I'll be there with Lanny. I'll be there with Brian Blair from the Killer Bees. A little extra for it. We'll be there also. Eddie Munster is going to be joining us. So, a little extra toss in there. Yeah, but one of the neat things, if you come to the show, I think it's only $5 to get in for adults, and kids are free. So it's really affordable. But Lanny and Brian will be there to talk to everybody, pose for pictures, sign autographs. If you come to the event and you actually back Lanny's and pre-order a book there, spending at least $10 towards the book, which I think is just ordering a book basically, because that'd be the book and shipping. If at the show, you'll get a free autograph from Lanny. We've got some postcards made with artwork on it that I'd like to cover, and Lanny will be autographing those for people. But Brian will be there with copies of his book, autographing and meeting with fans. So it'll really be a good time. I think fun for the family. It'll not be a super crowded event, I don't think, which to me, I think that's kind of neat because you can really get some personal one-on-one time with the wrestlers if you want to. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like doing some of these smaller towns. So yeah, like I said, if you're in the Central Florida area, come on out. It should be good. I think it's supposed to be nice weather too. I think we're looking at a high of around 56 degrees, which, for Florida, that's pretty chilly. So, but I think that, it's gonna be nice to get out. Nice day. It won't be too hot. Won't be too humid.
Definitely.
Be a fun time.
Well, John, thank you so much for joining us tonight. But where can the fans follow you guys on social media to keep up with all the comics that are coming out?
Okay, well, you can look up Squared Circle Comics on Facebook, Inverse Press on Twitter. I post constantly. You can look for John Crowther on Facebook or Twitter. I'm on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, John E. Crowther Writer. Definitely you'll want to check us out if you're thinking about backing Lanny or any books in the future, because we will be posting links to the Kickstarter. For anybody who's never done Kickstarter before, at kickstarter.com, you can go straight to it. It's a crowdfunding site. Starting on Sunday after 9 when it launches, you could go on there and just type in Lanny Poffo, the Genius, and the book should pop up. So, but look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all of them. We're pretty active.
Well, perfect, John. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, guys. Well, how about this? Jericho has his list. How about AWP has their own list? We disagree every so often. It happens. We're human. But how about we agree on things that are going to make the AWP list? Mike, maybe you should explain this a little bit better for them.
Pretty much, we're just going to put stuff on this list that pisses us off or makes us happy. This week, it's something that pisses us off, and that's bad booking. That's been going on a lot in the WWE. Hopefully 2018 changes that, but 2017 was the year of bad booking. And I'm going to throw one out there and see if you guys agree or disagree. We just talked about him before, Finn Balor. That's bad booking the way they did with him. I mean, you're trying to tell me the guy isn't over. You booked the guy not to get over, and he doesn't get over, and then you're telling me he doesn't get over because you booked him not to get over. That really pisses me off. And the fact that he's not in the main event at the Royal Rumble when he was rumored to be, even though, it was a rumor, and instead you have Kane in your main event. Doesn't he have mayor things to do? Like if I was living in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I saw the guy running for mayor, not doing mayor things, but he's on TV competing in wrestling. Like, if I wasn't a fan of wrestling and I saw this, I'm not voting for this guy. You're too busy, playing wrestling on TV rather than telling me why I should vote for you in Knoxville. You're burning people. You're a demon. You're the big red machine. I don't want this guy.
You fucked Katie Vick in a casket.
Exactly. This is not my mayor.
Oh wait, no, that was Triple H. My fault. With a Kane mask on.
He killed Katie Vick.
That's right.
So we're going to have a murderer as the mayor.
Bad booking.
That murderer is going to be taking the pinfall, by the way, in the Royal Rumble.
Well, like you said, though, Balor, man, I think it's almost like they have a scarlet letter as soon as somebody gets injured, whether it's like some minor injury to some bad injury. As soon as they come back, man, it's like we don't want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. I mean, look at Seth Rollins. He was the he was the WWE champion, got hurt, came back, never became the WWE champion again, and they just kind of put him on the back burner. It was like, well, we don't want to make you the champion again because we're not kind of sure what's going to happen. Balor gets injured. His first night on Raw beats Roman Reigns, goes into SummerSlam. I think the only second person to win on their debut a championship at SummerSlam, the other was Brock Lesnar, second was Finn Balor, wins the Universal Championship. Loses it, gets injured, comes back, and we don't know what to do with him. We're having him go against, nobodies. And it's like, why are we booking this? I mean, guys, I've vented about it all year too, or most of the few months, I guess. But Jason Jordan, are you telling me you're going to split up one of the best tag teams you have going on another show just so you can bring him in and... this was like a meme, wasn't it? Like you have who's Jason Jordan? It was Kurt Angle's son, and this is what we're going with. It's I don't know. It's not there for me. There's a lot of things that are just not connecting. It's like night and day when you see NXT booking compared to main roster booking. And I don't care what anybody says. Oh, you got a bigger crowd, you got a bigger audience, whatever. No, it's wrestling fans. We want to see compelling storylines. And it's like, who is working backstage that we need to fire? Cooterman. I mean, we're all agreeing on this, right? Bad booking?
Oh, there's no question. And here's my example. All right. And 205 Live has had some of the worst booking the whole fucking year. Case in point, Akira Tozawa finally ends the reign of Neville on 205 Live and wins the Cruiserweight title. Only to drop it, 2 days later? Have you fucking lost your mind? What was the point? How many people challenged Neville for that goddamn title and lost convincingly or lost by hook or crook or whatever, and it was such a great run only for what? A phantom title change. What a way to bring relevance to that fucking division by having somebody who probably deserved a halfway decent title run lose it only a few fucking days later, gentlemen.
The worst thing about that too is Neville made that belt actually mean something for him.
Yes.
Guys, I think we can all agree and say that bad booking, you just made the list.
So 2017 was a year of ups and years of downs. We saw a lot of crazy things happen, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, a lot of things that I'm still trying to wonder what the fuck happened. So 2018, we're going in this year with a lot of expectations, either good expectations or bad expectations. So what I have here, I have my own little list of questions, which I'm going to ask you what you think might or might not happen in the year of 2018. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read the first question. And your answer is pretty much simple. I'm going to ask you guys for your question, not happening or happening. So the first question, Adam Cole wins the NXT title. Credo, what's your pick?
Not happening.
What about you, Cooter?
I say that shit's happening. I mean, he's over. It's happening, baby.
I got to agree. I think it's happening. I think it's going to happen. The fans want to see it. I think it'll be good. It might happen. Okay. All right. So next question here, guys. Finn Balor wins the Universal title in 2018. Credo, what do you got here?
Happening, baby. Happening. Happening sooner than later, hopefully.
Cooter.
Have you lost your fucking mind? Not happening. Fucking Vince does not have faith in this guy. He's paired him up with the two jobbers of the fucking tag team division, even though I love that it's happening. But, I mean, they're not going to go anywhere at the end of the day.
I'm going to say it's happening. Next question. At least one football game will be funded by Alpha Entertainment. Happening or not happening, Credo?
I think it'll happen. I think he's got something up his sleeve, and I think he's just itching to take over another sport. Happening.
Cooter.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Alpha Entertainment is the group that helped Vince invest in bringing back the XFL.
Okay, what's the question?
At least one football game this year will be funded by Alpha Entertainment.
All right, moving on. Who gives a shit?
Okay. All right. Okay. The WWE leaves the USA Network. Greedo.
Ooh.
Happening. I think it's going to happen, but maybe at least at the beginning of next year. But happening. I think it's going to happen.
When's that contract up, Mike?
This year. Oh well, I think it's. I might be wrong, but I do think they're in terms of negotiating right now. That's why they threw NXT on Wednesday night so they could try and buy, so they can sell the NXT product to USA. But Fox is bidding right now in the WWE because Fox's contract with the UFC is soon going to be running out, and the WWE can bring in more ratings than the UFC can. They won't be able to deliver as much content as the UFC, but they'll bring in a lot more ratings.
Are you first off? All right, I'm going to say this. I agree that they're leaving. Oh, boy, what do I want to say here? I had a whole thought. Scratch this, Credo. I want to go second.
All right, well, I'm going to say that no, they are not going to be leaving USA. I think they're going to be staying home at USA. All right, next question.
Wait a minute. I'm going to answer the question. But I'm going to say I think they're leaving, but I think someone's going to give them a better fucking deal. I really do, because for you to say that they can't bring as much content as the UFC, you're crazy. First.
Well, the UFC, they have the Ultimate Fighter, they have Fight Nights, they have there's a couple other shows that they do, but they also have like FS1, FS2, FX. And
yeah, but they're not like. There's not 3 or 4 weekly shows every week.
Yeah, I know, but the UFC has a lot of they make content just to make content.
They do, but it's not going to draw the same amount of ratings. That's why I think it's a better move for Fox to go after them.
Oh no, they definitely will draw more ratings than the UFC, hands down.
I mean, at the end of the day, it all boils down to who's going to pay them more, and I think advertising dollars. And that's their major revenue, is that TV deal. So, I mean, you're not going to risk everything and throw your product and say, yeah, we're going to put Raw, SmackDown, and everything on the network, and you have to pay for it, because nobody will do that.
Gotcha. All right, next question, guys. Stephanie McMahon is the number 30 entrant in the Women's Royal Rumble. Shane or Steve, what do you got?
I don't think that's happening. I don't see it.
Cooter.
No, definitely not happening. I don't think Stephanie's a mark for herself like that.
I think she is a mark for herself. She put herself over the women's revolution with that speech about women in power. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I'll ramble on it. But I as much as she's a mark for herself, it's not happening. It's not happening. Okay, next question. Philadelphia finally riots after Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble.
Oh, I see that happening. I could see the Marks doing that. You fucking Marks. Happening.
Cooter.
Not only is it happening, I pray to God that it happens violently. Like to the point where we're not even going to see a full celebration from Roman Reigns. They're just going to have to cut camera that the crowd is going to be so belligerent. Roman throws him out. The booing and screaming and cursing is so bad they cut the cameras.
I think the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia that Roman won was a warning shot. This one, if Vince does it again, it's going to be problems. It's definitely happening. All right, next question. In 2018, CM Punk wins a fight. Greedo, what do you got?
Man, I really want him to. I'll say happening. They're going to feed him somebody. Just, I don't know. Maybe feed him James Ellsworth. Feed him somebody.
Cooter, what do you got?
Only if it's on Twitter.
Okay. I didn't specifically say what type of fight. That's good.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to say no. He's not winning a fight. It'll be a nice ratings draw for a Fox card, just so everybody doesn't have to pay to watch him fight. But he's not winning. Not winning. Okay, next question.
Let me ask you. All right, no, I'll ask you this after the show.
Okay.
Because in terms of CM Punk, because it's like Mikey Gall is a pretty damn good fighter.
Mickey Gall, he was great.
I mean, do you think if they had put him up against an up-and-comer who wasn't as talented, was just on the same level, that he could have done it?
That would have been an amateur fight if they did that.
Well, I mean, we're talking about an amateur here.
Yeah. Well, he went straight to the pro.
Moving on, I know.
All right. 2018, this might be a landslide one, especially after the rumors that happened this week. Ronda Rousey wrestles in 2018.
Happening. I think it's happening. I think she's realized she can't be the same Ronda she used to be in the real, UFC and whatnot. But she got to understand she could still make a lot of money. But how good will she be? I don't know. I think it's happening.
I think it's happening, and I think it's a shame that it's happening, because I think if she would have changed her coaching, she could have had a really good second run as a fighter, and really made even more money. I mean, it's happening. You already brought in Shayna Baszler in NXT. She's working. It's a wrap.
Yeah, I think it's happening too. I think it's the best thing for her. I mentioned this to someone before, that the UFC bantamweight women's division, it's evolved, and Ronda hasn't evolved. So I think if she goes there, she's going to tarnish her legacy for what she did for women's MMA. So I think the best thing for her, go to professional wrestling where you don't get beat up for real, and just make a shitload of money. So yeah, it's definitely happening. Next question.
Wait a minute. Let's do a sub-question to that one.
All right, go.
Is Ronda Rousey going to win the Women's Royal Rumble?
That was on my list.
Oh, wow. I'm good. All right. Sorry.
All right. Well, Greedo.
Happening. I think out of anybody you're going to have win it, it's got to be someone different. It can't be the same old. I think it's got to happen. So I would see it. I wouldn't mind seeing her do it when it kind of gives her some momentum, because she has no momentum doing anything yet.
I have mixed feelings about that. And this is why, because it's the first ever women's Royal Rumble, and you have Ronda coming in, who has a lot of star power about it. And yes, it will bring in a lot of news media outlets, ESPN, all sorts of places if she wins. But then you got the women's division, both Raw and SmackDown, that are there every week busting her ass. I think it deserves someone who's been on there deserves it, but they're probably going to put it over Ronda.
My only counter argument with that, really quick, the first ever women's ladder match, fucking James Ellsworth ruined it.
Yeah.
So that's I'm just anything can happen, right?
Yeah, I do agree with that.
I don't even think she's in the Rumble, and I'm going to say, for this reason, if you're going to have her on a card, you're going to promote that heavily, because you're going to want people to buy it and get subscriptions. You don't just, put a superstar like Ronda Rousey on a card as a surprise and not fucking promote her. You don't do that.
Well, allegedly, she's filming a movie right now, and she's not even going to be available for the Rumble. Allegedly. That's allegedly. But we'll see. All right, next question. Sister Abigail wins the Raw Women's title. Rito.
Please. If we can get, meningitis to make a comeback, that'll be great. But no, not happening. Please. No, not happening.
That's come on now, dude. You gotta come hard or don't come at all, bro.
No, don't worry, I got something for you coming up soon. I think Vince is twisted if he does that one, so we're not going to go there. Next one. James Ellsworth makes a run-in during one of Strowman's matches. Greedo.
No, not happening. Not going to happen. No. Less we talk about it, the better. Not happening.
Gooder.
Yeah, that's not. Oh, wow. You know what? I give it a 50-50. I'm giving it a 50-50.
Okay. I don't see it happening. As much as they have a lot of tie-in in history, those two. It's just not happening. Next question. Brock Lesnar makes a return to the UFC. Greedo.
I don't think it's happening. I think he's past what he's needed to do, especially after all those allegations the last time with the steroids and whatnot. I don't think it's I think he's done. He's done.
Gooder.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening. I don't think they really have a good enough opponent where it's pretty safe for him to win against. You put him up against really a one-dimensional fighter in terms of Mark Hunt as a draw. And I love Mark with that heavy hand, but there was no way he was winning that fight against a powerful grappler like Brock. And you know what? Brock's over the hill, and there's that the heavyweight division is stacked right now. Who do you put him up against? Who's not going to kill him?
No, it's not happening. As much as, I mean, his contract expires the night after WrestleMania. I think he's going to re-sign with the WWE. The only way he was not re-signing if he had that John Jones fight, because that was the only money fight that they could have, and that fight's not going to happen. So there's going to be no money for Lesnar to make. And if he fights anybody else, he's going to get his ass whooped. So moving along. Next question. Shane McMahon jumps off the Mercedes Superdome at WrestleMania.
Oh
my goodness. If it happens, and then hopefully that's his last match. I'm done with you, Shane. Please. He's got it in him. I think he's such an idiot to keep doing stupid shit. So I say we're going to see something happen, and that could be it. It's happening.
I hope he does do it, so we never have to see his fucking ass, in a match again. He's going to have to, here comes the money. And then the fucking power wheelchair comes out. Here comes the money, 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 money. And he just peels out in his little electric wheelchair. That would be great.
I'm going to say it's not happening, because if he does it, he's dead. It's the Mercedes Superdome. Yeah, the guy survived the plane crash, but he's not surviving that far. Last question, guys, and this one's going to be a kicker. Okay? In 2018, Vince McMahon's sex tape is leaked. Grado, happening or not happening?
Happening. It's got to happen. There's something's going to... Me Too. The Me Too movement's happening. Vince, you're done with. This is it. Time to move Triple H up. Happening.
I'm telling you right now, no sex tape will be released. However, there will be an allegation against him. I guarantee you that. There will be a Me Too allegation.
It's funny you say that, man. And with all the sex allegations that are going on right now, I will not be surprised if something falls on Vince McMahon. I mean, first of all, to rewind back to my question, no, there won't be a Vince McMahon sex tape. But how funny would that shit be? But now that you bring up sex allegations, I mean, remember, I forgot what year it was, but remember in Boca Raton, Florida, something about a tanning salon where he sexually harassed some chick, or she claimed that he did, or something like that. So I could see something happening for Vince McMahon's going to be on the list of celebrities.
You know what's funny is I've become a good fan of Bruce Pritchard's podcast too, and I was listening to a best of episode, and they were talking about Kelly when she debuted on ECW, and she was coming out and stripping and dancing. Who taught Kelly how to dance? It was Vince and your boy there in the office teaching her how to dance.
Oh, my goodness.
Not Kevin Dunn. No. You're the one. Whose podcast was I just talking about? Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with me today? Bruce Pritchard's podcast. Him and her, you gotta move like this. You gotta feel the music.
Ladies and gentlemen listening, if you have any suggestions or anything that you think is going to happen in 2018, tweet it at us. Let us know what you think is going to happen, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. I want to hear it.
There you go, guys. Wow, what a crazy episode. Once again, another WrestlingPodcast.com. Check us out. Everything's on there. Past shows, old guests, new things, a lot of things happening in 2018 for us. Another quick plug, Lanny Poffo, thanks for joining us. John Crowther, the writer for Lanny's comic coming out. Make sure you guys head on over to Kickstarter this Sunday. It's going to be debuting. Hey, guys, once again, everything and anything can happen in 2018, so make sure you stay tuned to another wrestling podcast. So, Cooter, it's the end of the show, man. Has your mom sent us anything for the show?
You know, she actually texted me like a half an hour ago. You're not going to be happy.
Oh, no. What?
Oh, my God. Enjoy about 50% less downloads, bitches. Love, the angry mother. What a cunt.
Well, she is your mother.
Hey, don't talk about my fucking mother that way.